If your phone is always on, your brain never really turns off. And that's draining your peace, your power, and your purpose. My name is Kris Krohn. I am the Millionaire Minimalist, showing you that enough is everything. If your phone is always on, your brain never truly turns off. And that's draining your peace, your power, and your purpose. Let me tell you what happens when you live like that. You start feeling like a machine. You're efficient, but you're empty. Connected, but alone. Productive, but never at peace. This video is a wake-up call for you, for me, for everyone about the real costs of always being on. Because in the last 2 years, I've been learning the hard way what that price really is. And today, I want to walk you through 5 ways it's costing you. It's costing you your energy, your joy, and the things that matter most in life. And I'm going to share with you exactly what I'm changing right now as a part of my Millionaire Minimalist journey. Most of us are trying to figure out how to win the game of life, and we've been taught that more equals success, and more stuff, more money equals winning. But the truth is, that might be exactly what's holding you back from living a more fulfilling life. The same thing that was a gift all those years ago to invest successfully, to grow a business, to be more connected to the world, this thing right here is our curse today. And if we don't learn how to manage this appropriately, it's gonna rob us our peace and our presence. So in today's video, I wanna share with you some tools that I've developed on how I manage this so that I can still remain fully present, aware, awake, living my life powerfully, but not getting run over with distraction and filling my life with all sorts of doom scrolling and things that pull me away from the present of what really matters most. Here are the 5 ways to make sure your phone doesn't keep you from being present. Number 1, your brain was not built for constant ping mode. There's a study out of UT Austin that blew my mind. It says that just having your phone nearby, not using it, not even looking at it, just nearby, can lower your cognitive performance by 10%. That's your brain power, your creativity, your focus. I want you to think about it. You could literally be sitting in a quiet room, no distractions, and your brain is still in defensive mode, still waiting for the next ping. That's what psychologists call attention residue. You're stuck halfway between this moment and you're in the last message that you just saw. I used to tell myself, I'm a great multitasker. I take calls while driving, answering emails between reps at the gym. I even shot off DMs between worship songs at church. And I thought that made me more powerful. But you know what it actually made me? Fragmented. One day I was journaling and this sentence came out of me. I'm always working, but I'm rarely thinking. So here's what I've done. I keep my phone in another room during deep work blocks. Right now I'm working. I actually don't need this thing right now. I've turned off all non-essential notifications, even Slack, and I've started doing tech Sabbaths, right? Full days where I just leave my phone off, like 1995 off. At first, this was totally terrifying, but now it's actually liberating because when you cut out the noise, you get something way more valuable back. You get clarity. 6 years ago, a buddy of mine fell out of the sky and he died in a tragic paragliding accident. I remember thinking to myself, he was only a couple years younger than me, and he's left his wife, his 4 kids behind. And I started asking myself, what if that was me? Like, what if this is my last day on planet Earth? Would I really want my life to be lived the way that I currently am? And I basically decided to redo my schedule. I cut my workload in half. But the most terrifying thing that I did is that when I was home and not at work, I started putting my phone away in a locked box that only my wife could control for 4, 6, or 8 hours at a time. For the first 6 months, I'm not gonna joke, it was literally like an addict that was coming off of crack. I was reaching for my phone. I had this impulse to grab my phone. It was on my mind. Who's messaged me? Who's texted me? I need to know. I need to be plugged in. What if someone's trying to tell me something? But week after week, it got easier until finally I detoxed from this little black box that is so cool, talks to satellites in the sky and allows me to reach people all over the world. And with AI, oh my gosh, it's amazing what access I have today. But I had to learn how to put it away so that I could regain presence and clarity. Wait, just 1 second. Have you ever met those people, you're trying to connect with them and then you can't because they're doing this? You gotta stop letting your work weeks spill over. No more work weeks with teeth. When the pandemic hit and remote work exploded, we all thought it would give us more freedom. And for a minute, it did, right? Sweatpants, no commute, midday workouts, seemed amazing. But if you fast forward a year, guess what happened? Gallup found that 70% of remote workers were now working on weekends. Almost half admitted to checking email in bed. The work week didn't shrink, it slipped into every corner of our lives. I sought my own schedule. I'd wrap up work at 5 p.m., but then I'd scroll emails at 9 o'clock, or I'd check Slack right before going to bed, or I'd hop on a call the second before I landed from a flight without even saying hi to my wife first. The problem isn't that we're working more, it's that we're never truly resting. We're not really getting recovery in. There is no strength. Without pause, there is no power. I used to work 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. I'd call it grind mode, the hustle. I wore it like a badge. And then one day I looked in the mirror and I asked, at what cost? The answer? My presence, my patience, and my peace. So now I work part-time by design. I batch my meetings, I give myself permission to shut it all down after a certain time of day, and because if it's always chasing the next thing, I'm never really enjoying this moment, this now. Hey, sorry to interrupt, but this can't wait. What I'm about to share could literally be the missing piece that you've been looking for. Give me just a moment, and then I'll get you back to the video. It's gonna be worth it. Listen, you don't need a whole bunch of side hustles. You don't need a fancy business plan. You need clarity, and the kind that produces wealth without wasting your life chasing it. When I started investing in real estate, I made one decision. I was gonna study every strategy that was out there, buy and hold, fix and flip, short-term rentals. I was gonna look at everything, but I wanted to basically compare them and find the best strategy, and I found it. I call it the straight path to real estate wealth. And guess what? It literally outperformed everything with the highest ROI, the least amount of effort, and the smallest startup cost at all. And that's basically why I wrote this book, The Straight Path to Real Estate Wealth. If you want to build passive income and start hitting 6 and 7 figures without burning out, click the link below, get this book, read it. Believe me, there's millions of strategies out there, but only one that gets you there faster, cleaner, and with your sanity intact. Number 3, always on means always stressed. Listen, stress isn't always a breakdown. Sometimes it's just never powering down. The Harvard Business Review shared research showing that people who feel the need to constantly be reachable have significantly higher cortisol levels. That's your stress hormone. These people sleep less, they move less, their relationships suffer more. Now on paper, I had everything, right? I had the mansion, the jets, the cars, but at night, I couldn't turn my brain off. I'd literally lie there in bed, staring at the ceiling, planning my next move and saying, God, give me some inspiration. I want to keep my brain on. Let's keep thinking, and feeling this low-key hum of anxiety always in the background that I just couldn't shake. Have you ever felt that way? Well, that's constant tension, like you're behind even though you're trying to get ahead. Let me tell you something. I learned that you can't grind your way out of chronic stress. You can't out-hustle a nervous system that never gets a break. So here's what I'm doing now. I block out sacred time. No tech, no work, no expectations. I've reclaimed my mornings, for example. I don't open email until after I've journaled, prayed, gone to the gym, done my routine, spent time with my wife and my kids, and I've also made recovery a ritual. Sauna, walks, time in nature, reading scripture. Because peace isn't something that just happens. It's something that you have to cultivate. It's something that you have to fight for. Number 4, make eye contact with your kids when you talk to them. This one hurts a little bit because Common Sense Media says that the average teen spends 8.5 hours a day on a screen. Here's what really hit me though. Kids whose parents are glued to their phones report higher levels of anxiety, disconnection, and self-doubt. I remember witnessing this with my daughter. I had made this rule when I came home from work, I wasn't gonna walk into the house till I finished my last text. And I broke the rule. I turned the handle, I was typing my last text, and right there at the door was my little daughter, Livia. She was 5 years old at the time. And I remember she was holding something. I could see that out of the corner of my eye, and she was so excited to tell me something. And here's all I did. I had a smile on my face. I moved my hand here. I said, 1 second, honey. Daddy is just finishing one last message. But something shifted in the energy before I could finish my message. She turned around. I could hear the paper drop to the floor. And so I walked after. I picked it up. And I saw that she had drawn a picture of me and her. And I walked a few more steps and I put my hand on her shoulder to turn around. There was this huge crocodile tear streaming down her face. And I remember just saying, Livy, I'm sorry. I'm fully present now. Can you tell me about the picture? You see, here's the problem. What does a 5-year-old decide in that moment? Does she matter? Does dad care about her? Is she worth it? She could also decide something really crazy about herself, like daddy doesn't like girls, or, my curly hair makes me stupid. Kids, they think the darndest thing. They're great observers, but they're awful interpreters. And that's the problem. Our brains literally develop so slow through life that our kids are observing our behavior, and then they're prone to their own interpretation. I think often thinking, my parents are too busy for me. They don't really care about me. They love that device more than they love me. In that moment, I realized that I was unintentionally teaching my kids that phones come first, that they're the priority, that urgency beats presence, that hustle matters more than human connection. That's when I started making some real changes. No phones at dinner. In fact, the moment one of my kids walks into a room, if I have my phone on me, I put it away because I don't want them to interpret that little device as more important than them. By the way, weekly one-on-one connections with each of your kids device free, that's where you finally get to drop in and be present and make that eye contact. Let them see you, let them connect with you, let them feel you. The average adult can't spend more than 4 seconds looking into someone's eye without feeling awkward and uncomfortable. With your loved ones, you want to break through that 4 seconds. You want to be able to connect a full minute, eye to eye, looking at each other and exchanging soul to soul information, because the eyes really are the window of the soul. Listen, your family doesn't need your status. They need your eyes. They need your ears. They need your heart. They need your presence. And that presence, it's literally the greatest wealth that you can give them. Listen, me becoming a minimalist, it's a process, because I've got a lot to deconstruct from the way that I've done things. I can tell you that I've taken my kids on the most amazing trip to Japan. I took them to the Galapagos on my private jet. We rented a yacht. We had that experience. As I've taken my children around the world, as I've given them a private education, as I've tried to give them the best things in life, there's a part of me that has to judge, what have I done right and what have I actually missed the mark on? And here's what I can tell you as an absolute truth in my life. Everything that you want to leave them as a legacy, everything you'd love to leave with them in a juicy trust, all the things that could give them a greater leg up in life, that's you projecting onto them what you wish you had had, but you only became the person that you did because you had to struggle and fight and work your way through to where you are today. Don't take that away from them. What they need from you, the real legacy, is connection. And it happens in a moment. It doesn't take any money. It literally just takes your ability to sit, connect with them in the eyes, and share a moment, to vulnerably open yourself up. Tell me how you're really doing. Now, for me, my favorite way to do this with my kids is we'll longingly look in each other's eyes, and I always start it off by saying, I see your spirit. And inevitably, my kids will pause and take that in. It'll become almost emotional, and then they'll share back with me, Dad, I see you. I see your spirit. That right there, there's no greater wealth I've ever experienced in my entire life than those moments. And guess what? You don't have to be rich to get there, but you also don't need this keeping you from those opportunities. Here's number 5, and the final way for you to stay more present and not let your phone get in your way. Ask yourself this: will your future self be proud of your decisions today? Let's get real. You can check your inbox and your to-do lists. You can double your income. You can have the team, the title, the travel. You can still do all of this and feel empty. And that's because productivity without purpose is just performance. It's movement with no meaning. I remember this season where I had 11 different companies and every one of them was growing. I was waking up at 5, I was working out in the morning, doing my routine, and then sometimes I was working till midnight, literally managing teams, doing keynotes, scaling, expanding. And you know what? I felt nothing. I didn't have an increase in joy, of peace, but often felt numb on my treadmill. And that's when I asked myself, if no one could see what I was doing, would I still be doing it? When I'm a grandfather someday looking back on my life, will I be proud or will I regret how I spent my time? And for me, a lot of my answers were no. So now I filter everything through this new lens. Does this align with my divine purpose? Does this energize me or does it drain me? Will this matter in 5 years? And if the answer is no, I just let it go. Because I don't want to just be productive. I want to be present. I want to be whole. I want to feel aligned. That's the minimalist millionaire mindset. Do less, but make it mean more. We started this video with a promise. If your phone is always on, your brain never truly turns off. And that's draining your peace, your power, and your purpose. And now you've seen that the true cost, your brain becomes scattered. Your work week invades your life. Your stress becomes chronic. Your kids feel second to your phone, and you chase productivity with no peace. But listen, it doesn't have to stay that way. You can choose a new path, one of intentionality. You can turn that phone off. You can unplug to reconnect. You can trade urgency for clarity, excess for balance. That's the journey I'm on. And that's what it means for me to be a millionaire minimalist. Not broke, not passive, but wealthy enough to walk away from anything that doesn't serve the life that you are meant to live. And if you know someone that is too glued to their phone, share this with them. Share it with them with sincerity in hopes that all of us can break free, learn to be more present and more connected to who we are and the life that we're meant to live.